Good afternoon. I pray this finds each and every one of you doing well. On behalf of every member of the Go and Tell Ministries team, let me say that we have been and will continue to be praying for each and every one of you. I also want to say thank you from the very beginning of this video. Thank you for the way that so many of you have reached out to check on us, to just ask how we're doing, and thank you for your prayers. We have felt the prayers of so many, and we know that even though so much of what is going on has caught so many of us off guard, none of this has caught the Lord off guard. And our security, our hope, is not determined by what is going on around us. Our security is firmly placed in the Lord and His Word, and we know that He is much bigger than anything that we are dealing with or will deal with in the coming weeks. I wanted to take just a moment to sort of update you on the situation here in Mexico. Many of you have been wondering about our situation as compared to what is going on in the States. We have not seen to this point in time the high level of number of cases as have been seen in other places. I anticipate that that is about to quickly change as more testing is done. Obviously, more cases will be discovered. We have been watching very closely what has been going on in the United States as well as in Central America, because both areas come to have a direct impact on what goes on here in Mexico. And so with that, let me update you on a few changes that we have seen just in the past few days, the past week here in Mexico. First and foremost, schools have been closed and will be closed at least for the next month. The decision was made on the national level, and then that trickled down to the state and local level to basically extend what is our normal 2-week spring break time to a 4-week spring break, knowing that those additional 2 weeks will obviously have to be made up sometime between now and the end of what is the regular school year. So schools have been closed. And as of yesterday, many of you are probably aware that the border between the United States and Mexico has now been closed as of midnight last night to all non-essential travelers. And basically what that means is if you are involved in commerce or trade in some way and have a way to prove the need to move from one side of the border to the other, you will still have the ability to do so. But all other persons looking to travel to either side of the border will be turned back and not allowed to enter either the United States or Mexico. So those are probably the two biggest changes that we've seen here just in the past few days. As a church, you all, our support base, know that from the very beginning of our time here in Mexico, we have partnered with a local church, El Divino Salvador. It is our home church here in Matamoros, but also is the platform upon which we do a lot of our ministry work. And so many of the decisions and actions that we've taken as a ministry have been determined by the decisions of the leadership of the church, and in particular our pastor, Pastor Ruben. Tomorrow we will be participating in what we're calling our last on-site service for at least the next month. And we're about to implement a plan, what we're calling church from home. And there are a lot of different facets to that plan. I won't go into all of them, but just to let you know that the church has a plan. The church will be at work, and as a ministry, we will continue to build upon those bonds of partnership that have been established for now more than 13 years. One of the main actions that we will be taking as of Monday is we'll begin coordinating the reception of food goods that we can then put together as food bags or food boxes and distribute to, first and foremost, those members of our church who are unable to provide those needs, or to our older members, and in addition to the community at the beach. Many of you have asked about the situation at the beach. The beach itself has been closed also to non-essential travelers. Those who live there can continue living there, but they have already been greatly impacted well in advance of the virus making an impact here locally. This is the period of time in which they have a great deal of financial income every single year, and many of them live for months off of what they earn during this 4 to 6 week period of time. Actually, this 4 to 6 week period of time in which no one can get into the beach. So they will not have the sales that they normally have of fresh seafood. They will obviously not have any level of tourism, and so we know that their needs will be very great and are very great even now. So our first concern as far as getting food goods into the hands of people will be that community at the beach. So that, along with other things that we will be doing, hopefully will allow us to continue ministering, obviously in a very different manner and in a very different world than what we have known, but we will continue to minister as we can and as the opportunities present themselves. The other area that I wanted to mention briefly is in relation to our partnership with the seminary. As of right now, our night classes have continued on, mainly because our numbers of students are low, and so we're not talking about large classes of students that we have to deal with. I tend to think that within this next week that too will change, depending on the news and recommendations that we have from the local government. One thing that has changed as far as the seminary is the manner in which we are handling our certificate programs. Many of you are aware that we have been working with the seminary over the past few years to develop certificate programs for lay leadership in the churches here in Matamoros as well as in other places around the country. Given the recommendation to not travel at this point in time, those sites, those classes, we are in the process of converting into an online scenario, at least for the next month, possibly 2 months, until we see that it's prudent to be out on the highways and making our way into communities where we have ongoing classes and programs going on. So I would say that not all that different from the United States. There are decisions that are being made on a daily basis as numbers change, as cases come to light. Decisions have to be made based upon the information that we have. on hand at that particular point in time. And so I'm very aware that the information that I'll be putting out through this video within 24 hours, it may not be accurate. It may not apply to what our situation is tomorrow. So I have planned to maintain a level of presence here online so that as you think about Mexico, as you think about the work of Go and Tell Ministries, as you pray for what God is doing through the church here in Mexico, you'll have the information that you need to be praying in a very specific and accurate manner. Just as we have been praying for the church there in the States, and in very specific ways as we have received news of what is going on there in the States. So we continue to trust. We know that our faith is firmly placed in the Lord, as is our lives and our church, our ministries. There is nothing that is outside of His reach, and we trust with all of our heart, all of our mind, our very being, that God is at work even in the midst of what seems to be such a difficult and dark time in our history. We know that God uses all things for His good, and we only pray that we will be a part of what He intends to do in making His name known through this time of crisis around the world. Thank you for your support. Thank you for praying for us. Anyone who might have additional questions about ways that you can be involved in what Go and Tell Ministries is doing, you can send us a message here on Facebook, or you can reach out to us via our website. So for now, we will sign off and look forward to being back in touch with you within just a couple of days. May God continue to bless each and every one of you.